Hello and welcome back to Level Up with Loraine. Today we're going to be talking about mastering emotional intelligence. Research suggests that emotional intelligence is a key factor in many areas of your life, including work performance, health and well-being, academic achievement, social relations, decision-making, creativity. Research also suggests that emotional intelligence can be taught or learned. So, for example, one study that I was reading found that students who completed an emotional intelligence curriculum had significantly higher EQI scores than students who did not. So, what is emotional intelligence? So, emotional intelligence, which I will refer to time and again as EI in this episode, involves understanding and managing your own emotions, recognizing and influencing the emotions of others, and using this awareness to guide your thoughts and actions. Can you imagine how powerful that is, right? Just the ability to be able to regulate your emotions in situations, to be able to read other people's emotions, and to be able to guide yourself in terms of how you react or your actions thereafter. It's a powerful tool. Think about that, whether it's in your leadership, whether it's in your relationships. It's a critical skill for personal development in whatever social setting you may find yourself in. Now, there are 5 key components to emotional intelligence, and these are self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. I'm so excited to be doing this podcast today, this particular episode, because my 6-year-old daughter is currently struggling with regulation of emotions, right? She has these huge outbursts when she doesn't get her way, or if she reads as though I am upset with her or her father is upset with her, she again reacts to that. So she's very reactive right now. And it's funny to see this when dealing with a child. I mean, it's age appropriate, right? She's still developing, and these are skills that she needs to learn and harness to be able to make friends and play with others on the playground and just be an all well-rounded, decent human being. But it's also really funny to think that there's some adults who have not fully developed in the area of emotional intelligence. And when you think about the example I gave you of my daughter, can you imagine when it's an adult in the workplace who throws tantrums when they don't get their way, or who is very dramatic in reading other people's emotions and has outbursts because they think you looked at them the wrong way, or your tone was off, and are very reactive? It then becomes problematic. And so this is a skill that ideally we need to already have started learning when we were toddlers, right? When we were children. But you don't stop learning and perfecting the skill of emotional intelligence. And a good thing to know here, or to note, is it's a skill that you can learn even as an adult, and you can really master it so that you are successful, right, in all social standings that you find yourself in, whether it's as a leader, as a parent, as a friend, as a sibling, as a child. You are able to tap into emotional intelligence for any social circumstances, right, that require a reaction, that require an action from you. You are able then to regulate yourself, to slow down and think about what is the right reaction, as opposed to, having an outburst like a toddler. So let's start with self-awareness. Now, self-awareness is the understanding of your own emotions and how they affect your thought and behavior, and recognizing your strengths and weaknesses and triggers. I've said in past episodes, one of the most critical traits and skills to have in life is self-awareness. When you know yourself, what you can and can't do, how you feel, what makes you feel that way, etc., you are in a powerful position to create happiness for yourself, right? You are in control of your emotions, what you allow to disturb your peace or not disturb your peace. And so this is a critical component of emotional intelligence, because the ability to understand and know yourself means you know what your triggers are, and you're able either to walk away or to recognize that this is a trigger and I don't have to respond to it right now, or to actually slow down and think about what is the right and best response in that moment. And so self-awareness is the first critical component of emotional intelligence. The second one is self-regulation, right? Now that emotion has come up, how do you manage it effectively, right? Especially in challenging situations. Now, managing or self-regulating yourself when you're going through different emotions does not mean ignoring them. It means knowing exactly how to adapt to that emotion. Do I stay calm and deal with it later? Or this is the right moment for me to react, because then it will be more powerful, or it will be more impactful if I respond now. So the ability to know the when, the how, the why is self-regulation, right, of emotions. So it's managing your emotions effectively, especially in challenging situations. And it's also practicing impulse control. Just because you're upset or angry does not mean you cannot take a breath, walk away from the situation for 5 to 10 minutes. I promise you, 9 times out of 10, when I've walked away from a situation and then come back to it, I've responded way differently than I would have responded had I decided to react immediately. And so there is power in self-regulation, in the ability to say, self, let's walk away. Let's go and think about this one, and then come back to the situation. Another key component of emotional intelligence is the ability to motivate yourself, right? So cultivating a positive mindset and inner drive to achieve goals. This is something that I've been working on personally myself. I've been watching a lot of YouTube podcasts on finding purpose, on finding meaning, on positive mindset, living a life of gratitude. These are all things that need to come from within. And again, you can cultivate them. The good thing with this is that once you focus on long-term rewards over short-term distractions, you are able to realize the bigger goal, right? The bigger output or outcome of things. And so a practical sort of example here is you could be working with a difficult manager, right? But you know that you only need to work with this person for the next 6 months for an amazing project that, if done well, you are going to be able to get a promotion and report into a different manager, for example, right? Now, the ability to cultivate a positive mindset and inner drive to achieve that goal is motivation for yourself. And that's a critical skill to have. That's emotional intelligence, right? Because what you're doing is you're focusing on the long-term reward of moving off under that particular manager, winning and being successful in this project so that you can successfully move on to a different manager. And understanding that this is a short-term distraction. Working with this difficult person is short-term. And your self-awareness, again, comes into play here. Like, how much can I take? What can't I take? What are some of the strategies that I can employ to be able to make the next 6 months possible? So motivation is important. The fourth one is empathy. So like I said, emotional intelligence is not just about being aware of your own emotions and regulating your own emotions. It's also about understanding other people's feelings and their emotions and what triggered them. Right now, that's next level stuff. Once you're able to read other people, it's almost like defensive driving, right? For those people who've done a defensive driving course, you go and learn how to drive your own car. That's the first step, right? And then you get your driver's license. The next level is doing defensive driving, where they teach you how to drive with other people So the ability to read the drivers around you and to sort of already have foresight and see what a certain driver is potentially going to do before it happens so that you can drive in a safe way and move out of the way, or to be able to defend yourself. So defensive driving for me is such an important skill. If you haven't done it, this is, I guess, this is a shameless plug to please go and do defensive driving, because it's so important. But bringing that analogy back to emotional intelligence, if you can understand your own emotions, that's the ability to drive your own car. Good for you. You've got the license. When you can now understand other people's emotions and what drives them to behave the way they behave, that's the defensive driving. Because what it does is it then helps you know how to navigate conversations, situations with that person. Right. And so if their tone starts to go up, if their face starts to change, if they start getting triggered, you know to say, actually, let's pause here for today. Let's pick this up tomorrow. It doesn't mean that you change the subject, you run away from it. You now know when to pause or to take a break or to get out of the way, because you can see that if I continue on this road, an accident could happen. Okay, so that's empathy as well, because it's you taking into consideration someone else's feelings and realizing they need a break. They may not know to walk away from me the way I know to walk away when I'm triggered. So let me help them by pausing this interaction. Okay, the fifth component to emotional intelligence are just your general social skills. So the ability to build meaningful relationships, resolve conflicts, and working collaboratively with others. I've spoken in other episodes. I've spoken about narcissism. I've spoken about self-love and walking away from relationships or from engagements that don't serve you. So again, emotional intelligence is the ability to have those social skills to know that this relationship is meaningful and I should invest as much time as I can to build it. I should be intentional, and it's going to yield good results for both of us. And then also the ability to know that this relationship is not going anywhere. Let me walk away, right? So having those social skills of understanding meaningful relationships from those that are not, and knowing how to resolve conflict in a healthy way, that again is a component of emotional intelligence. So how do you master emotional intelligence? How do you master the components of emotional intelligence that I just shared? So very quickly, I'm just going to go through some practical ways for you to strengthen your emotional intelligence. Reflect daily. That's the first one. Reflect daily. Spend time journaling about your emotions, what you went through that day, how you could have reacted better, your experiences, what your takeaways from those experiences were. And ask for feedback. Seek honest feedback from the people that you're engaging with on a daily basis, from trusted friends or colleagues, to identify what may be your blind spots and what you need to do better if you are to become stronger in your EI. Practice mindfulness. Now, this links directly to what we spoke about in terms of knowing when to stay calm, when to walk away, all of that. That requires you to be in the moment. And for you to be in the moment, you need to practice mechanisms that help you stay present and observe your emotions without judgment. So things like meditation, just sitting in silence, watching motivational material that will help you to have, more mental strength, mental prowess, and to be able to be mentally resilient, right? Practicing mindfulness. Pause before reacting. Again, this is directly linked to practicing mindfulness, because when you now have the ability to pause, this means you can take a deep breath. You can count to 10 before responding in emotionally charged situations. And you are able to set boundaries and learn to say no to things just so that you are able to also manage your stress effectively, or do not upset yourself and get yourself outside of that realm of calm. Adopt healthy coping mechanisms. So use techniques like exercise, meditation, like we spoke about, and creative outlets to be able to manage any negative emotions that you may be experiencing. Now, I always use this podcast as an example. For me, this is my outlet, right? When I'm feeling down, or I feel emotionally charged and I feel like, I feel so passionate about this. This is my outlet. This is where I come, I do some research, and I share so that the next person who may find themselves in the same situation that I'm in, or feeling the same way, also has that, tool to be able to lean on. And so find your emotional outlet. Enhance empathy. We spoke about defensive driving, in quotes. Enhance that ability, right? Listen actively to people and give others your full attention without interrupting or judging them, because that's when you will start to strengthen the skill of understanding other people and what's going on around you, the emotions of other people, their triggers, etc. Understand perspectives, right? It's also quite critical that you're able to understand other people's perspectives, even though they may not be aligned to your own perspectives. So ask open-ended questions to better understand other people's feelings and their viewpoints, and listen again without judging or without interrupting. Practice kindness. Again, that's part of empathy, right? Offer help, encouragement, validation to those around you. It is, again, a huge sign of emotional intelligence when you're able to see that this person needs help. Can I help them? If I can't, who can? And how do I facilitate that? Lastly, I would say communicate effectively how you're feeling. Develop conflict resolution skills and the ability to build rapport, which is to show genuine interest in others and express appreciation regularly, will enhance your ability to strengthen your social skills, your empathy, cultivate your motivation, improve your self-regulation, and develop your self-awareness. All of this that I've just ran through and shared will culminate into what we are calling emotional intelligence. Benefits of mastering emotional intelligence are what I spoke about earlier on in the episode. It will ultimately help with better relationships and deeper connections when you're self-aware and you're also aware of the emotions of the people around you. It will enhance your leadership skills and teamwork capabilities. It will improve your mental health and resilience. It gives you greater self-confidence and personal fulfillment. And by consistently practicing these techniques that we've just spoken about today in today's episode, you can make emotional intelligence an integral part of your personal and professional life, right? And this is just the beginning. There's so many material on the internet that you can read. There's so much material on YouTube. There are even more educated people who talk about this topic. And I would implore you to delve deeper into it as you master emotional intelligence. Thank you so much for listening right up until the end of this episode. If you have any questions, any suggestions, if you have any comments, please feel free to reach out to me. Otherwise, if you enjoyed the episode, also share with your friends and your network. Until next time, continue to level up.